As someone who actively avoids horror games, Resident Evil 7 was the last game I wanted to touch. First person perspective, a crazy family chasing you, a filthy rotting house, all of this screamed, run. But curiosity got the best of me. I felt like I was missing out. I wanted to know what made Resident Evil 7 so beloved, why this franchise is so iconic, and most importantly, can I handle it? The game starts off with us playing as Ethan Winters, a man going to investigate a house searching for his long-lost wife Mia. As soon as we walk into this house, we can get a feel for how this game is going to be. The floor is creaky, walls are moldy, slimy food coming out of the fridge. Everything about this house felt disgusting. This was the first of many instances where I wanted to stop playing just because of how uncomfortable it felt. I never knew filth and rot could instill fear in me. I can't put into words how weird this felt. It was as if I could smell that house through my screen. At this moment, I knew I was in for a wild ride. Early on, we find cassette tapes scattered through the house, recordings of people who came here before us. The first one shows a film crew exploring the house and going to the basement. They went down but never came back, and now we had to follow the same path. Going down into the basement, wading through sludge, we finally find Mia, locked in a holding cell, terrified, telling us we need to escape. At first, I thought finding her meant safety. I thought we would have her as a companion character. I was completely wrong. Mia vanishes, letting out a scream, while we're looking for an escape path, and when we find her again, she's different, violent, erratic, and wants to kill us. The jump scares in this section were unbearable for me, especially when Mia lunges at us from the stairs. I had to pause the game, take a break, and then come back later. The back-to-back scares made me question if I wanted to keep playing, and this wasn't the last time I'd feel that way. After the fight with Mia, well,
welcome to the family, son.
we wake up tied to a chair to meet the Baker family. Jack, Marguerite, Lucas, and Granny gathered around a grotesque dinner. Ethan's severed hand has somehow been stitched back on. Jack tries to force feed him something that barely resembles food, and when he resists, Marguerite lashes out. Moments later, they leave him alone to escape. That escape leads into a short chase with Jack, and this was the moment the game finally broke me. Jack bursts through a wall, charging straight at us. I froze, I quit the game, uninstalled it, and thought I was done with it. For the next 2 days, I couldn't stop thinking about that moment. It felt wrong to leave it there. Resident Evil isn't this iconic by accident, and I kept wondering if I'd walked away right before something clicked. So I came back. I reinstalled the game, sat down, and I decided I was going to see it through, no matter how uncomfortable it made me. The Jack chase led to a short boss fight in the garage. It wasn't anything special mechanically, but there's a cool variation if you grab the car keys before he does. Either way, Jack explodes and we gain access to another section of the house. By this point, Resident Evil 7 shows most of what it has to offer gameplay-wise, so let's talk about it for a moment. From a purely mechanical standpoint, RE7 isn't that deep. Gunplay is functional but unremarkable, shooting feels serviceable, and crafting stays fairly surface level. There's some resource management early on, but nothing here feels particularly complex or novel. What does work is the level design. The Baker house is excellent. You're constantly looping back through familiar spaces, unlocking shortcuts, and solving puzzles. It's controlled, deliberate progression. Find an item, open new doors, slowly access more of the house. Safe rooms give you a place to breathe, save, and manage your inventory, which, by the way, is very restrictive. I was running back to safe rooms very frequently just to use the item box and free up space. You do find backpacks later that expand your inventory, but the pressure never fully goes away. Enemy variety isn't great either. You fight variations of the same molded creatures and a handful of bosses. The combat is straightforward, and it stays that way throughout the entire game. Where Resident Evil does shine, however, is in its story. And there's a specific moment in the game that made me feel like all of this suffering was actually worth it. I'm going to spoil the ending of the game in this next section, so feel free to skip ahead if you want to avoid that. The storytelling in Resident Evil 7 is excellent. Everything unravels slowly as you progress, and at a certain point, the mystery completely hooked me. I couldn't wait to see where it was going. But let me back up for a second. Throughout the game, we get calls from a woman named Zoe. She's guiding us and helping us survive. Turns out, she's part of the Baker family, but somehow, she kept her sanity.
Yes. Now listen carefully, Ethan. My family and our bodies are contaminated. I can't leave the property unless I get it out. And the same goes for Mia.
Is there a way to get it out?
We need the serum.
She tells us that Mia is still alive, and if we gather the right ingredients, she can create a serum to cure both her and Mia. This old house section was filled with jump scares, especially the encounters with Marguerite, but at this point I made up my mind that I will finish the game. While gathering ingredients for Zoe, I kept seeing flashes of a little girl. She'd appear for a second, then vanish. I thought it was just another scare tactic and didn't pay much attention to it. Eventually, we bring back the ingredients to Zoe. She creates 2 serums, but right before we can use them, Jack shows up again, this time as a massive mutated monster. Zoe tells us to inject him with the serum to kill him, and we do, which means there's only 1 dose left. The game forces you to choose: cure Zoe, who's been helping you this whole time, or cure Mia, the person you came here to save. For me, the choice was obvious. I chose Mia, we escaped the house on a boat, and I thought the game was over. It wasn't. The boat gets attacked by some unknown creature, we crash, and then wake up to play as Mia, stranded near a derelict ship. The only item in her inventory is a bottle labeled with E-001. This is where the story grabbed my full attention. As Mia, we explore this ship and start having visions, flashes of the crew panicking, saying that they're gonna get killed. When the vision ends, we see their corpses on the floor, and we keep seeing that little girl, the one I'd been ignoring. I started putting the pieces together. I'd seen the name Evelyn in notes throughout the game. I thought maybe this girl was Evelyn, but I had no idea what that actually meant. Mia follows the girl through her hallucinations until the girl hands her a cassette tape and tells her to remember.
You need to remember, so we can be a family.
This tape clears up almost everything. In the recording, we play as a woman whose name we don't know yet. We learn that Evelyn is a bioweapon, one that went rogue and killed everyone on that ship. The woman and a man named Alan were supposed to act as Evelyn's parents to avoid suspicion. We also learn that all the black sludge we've been seeing and all the molded creatures we've been fighting were all created by Evelyn.
She's vomiting. Far more in excess of her body mass.
Oh, great. We're gonna be seeing a lot more of her ugly friends if this keeps up.
By the end of the tape, we realized that the woman in the recording was Mia. She had lost her memory, and with that revelation comes something even more important. The bottle marked E-001 contains Evelyn's genetic material, which can be used to create an injection capable of killing her. After solving a few puzzles, Mia finds Ethan trapped in the wall, covered in that same black material. Ethan experiences a dreamlike sequence where he's talking to Jack and Zoe Baker, and they're telling him that Evelyn took control of their mind and soul. Mia frees Ethan, and we take control of him again for the final stretch of the game. Mia then tells Ethan to kill Evelyn, but I was confused because Evelyn was standing right behind Mia. So much story had just been revealed in one section, and I was loving it, but the last twist made my jaw drop. As Ethan, when I went back to the Baker house, I found a photo of Granny, the creepy old lady who had been teleporting around the house in the early hours of the game. I'd completely dismissed her as just another scare tactic, and I also just forgot about her. Then I flipped the photo over to see E-001. Granny is Evelyn. I sat there staring at the screen, mouth wide open in complete disbelief. The villain had been right there the entire time, watching me, following me, and I never realized it. What makes this even better is that I found the same photo way back in the earliest section in the game, and I only noticed it when I was going through my footage to make this video. Shortly after, we find little Evelyn and inject her with the cure we found a bit earlier, and as Ethan's hallucinations fade, we see Granny getting injected. A boss fight ensues, we kill her, and we meet Chris Redfield. He rescues Ethan, Mia and Ethan are back together, and the game ends there. I really enjoyed the story in Resident Evil 7, especially in the latter half of the game. The combat was passable, but the level design and the puzzle sections were the highlights in terms of gameplay. The game was filled with tension and jump scares. For me, the tension elevated the storytelling in the game, but I really did not like the jump scares. And this is where I'm a bit confused as someone who doesn't typically enjoy horror games. I don't know if my feelings toward jump scares is something that is intended. Do people who like horror games enjoy these jump scares? Let me know in the comments. I am very excited to play Resident Evil Village next, and eventually play other games in the series to see what they have to offer. Thanks for watching.